Hello and welcome to today's stream/video. Today we are building the Lego set 76901. To show you the package, it is this one here, the new version of the Toyota Supra, and I'm going to build it with you on stream, and afterwards we are going to discuss it a little and see if it is worth the purchase. Alright, so for actually discussing it, I would like to switch to a different view, and let's start with emptying the package. I already opened it up. As you can see, I cut it open with a knife, and now we're just gonna put everything out first to see what we're getting. Oops. And first of all, let's get all the dust away. um, we have a sticker sheet. We have the instruction manual in this, well, bound sort of slash way. As you can see, the parts are not getting underlined or anything like this, and they are just colored differently most of the time. Alright, I'm gonna set this to the side as well because I am already prepared by having opened the actual online version of it in a PDF format, because I actually very much preferred building like that, as you may have realized by now. We are also getting this standardized base plate for the Speed Champion series, which you have already seen a couple of times with the builds we had recently. So for example, in the minifigure scale version of the Tumbler, as well as, well, all the other Speed Champion series cars that are out at the moment. Also, we are getting two numbered bags and two different versions of the wheel caps that are getting put on to the standard form of the wheel. I will show you that a little later in more detail. Alright, so let's just get ready, empty everything out from the first bag. I'm gonna try to be a little more delicate now, not to annoy you too much with the sound. Alright. And the second of three bags. Alright. So we're having a bunch of parts on the table. Let's start with probably the minifigure that's included in it. So, which I always actually appreciate a lot with most of these, is that they include a printed body piece, which actually usually is rocking the manufacturer's logo. So in this case, it's the Toyota logo. With this version or iteration of the series, or with this model to say it more precisely, we are also getting a double printed headpiece with two different emotions for the driver, as well as two different hair pieces, or like one hair piece and a helmet, better to say. I should rather call it accessories, I suppose. And you're also just a second, and you're also getting a wrench as another accessory for the minifigure. All in all, it's always nice that they include any sort of minifigure, because, well, worst case, you can always just sell it on Bricklink. Alright, so just to show you the full figurine, the legs are actually not printed, so it's just a regular standard black leg piece as well as a black hair piece. The main body though is printed and has red hands as well as a wrench, as I mentioned. Alright, I can just put these to the side here so you will see the included stuff. Alright, let's continue on with building the actual car. As you can see, the frame of it always is exactly 6 studs wide, which is a very standardized width for this, because usually when they are completed, they are always 8 studs wide, so that all of them match rather similarly when you put them together into your collection. Next thing that we are actually building is the axle. Usually we are starting these builds with the back axle, or the back of the car, so to say. We have connected these pieces now, and we are also continuing on with the other side. Alright, so we have this part already put together. It's consisting of these. I don't really know the exact name of these parts. I will show you in more detail so you can get an idea of what I mean. Alright, and then let's just see where it's dragging us. So, okay, we are putting this underneath of the main body. Alright, and we've already completed the baseline of it. You can see the actual distance between the different axles is not actually that large. It's a rather short car, I suppose. Alright, and there's a studded piece which has holes here, which is getting to be put up onto this connector, or like the how's this called? The connectors that are sticking out of the side, and you just shove it up, and it's stuck up here. That's also done with 2 angled pieces here, and on the other side, both of them are 1x1s. Finished, it looks like this, and it's just attaching to the front. It looks like we are building the exhaust tips now. Which have a nice chrome color to them. I hope you can see it a little bit better here. They are connected through the side parts, which we have put on first. There's two studs, as you can see, where the exhaust tips are just being put on. Wonderfully. I'm just gonna do the second side. And the second side is also done completely the same. It's just mirrored. So now we are sitting at this point. All right. Let's see where we can continue with this. So this actually is a printed piece, which is wonderful to see. This is, I guess, is the middle line diffuser. I hope that you can see what I mean with being printed. It has a lot of little fine prints to it. Let's see if this webcam can see it a little bit better. Yeah, you get an idea of what I mean. It's being put into the middle with a one-stud connection on a jumper plate. And it's looking like this now. I think it's rather looking cute. We are also building up the side pieces on both sides of the exhaust tips to give it more of an angled down look, I guess. To show you in more detail, we're looking like this now, so it's becoming a bit more shaped upwards. The diffuser line is getting a little bit more clear. Also, the effect is helped too with it actually getting getting a bunch of layers on it here with three different three times the same 2x3 plate in black. As you can see, we are looking at it like this. So it's getting blocked off. I suppose up here there's another build-up that will follow shortly after. I just hope that I should not have pressed this in any further. I have a little bit of a gap up here, and it's not completely sure from the instruction manual if it is supposed to be there like that, but well, we will see that in probably not too long. Before then, there's some build-up for the middle part, or the interior is getting started, I suppose. By the way, I'm terribly sorry if my voice is a little bit bad at the moment. I have a bit of a throat ache, so just um, just to mention it rather shortly, not to cause confusion. We are putting on the side. How is this part actually called? The fenders, I guess, the side fenders up here for the back side, and also a 2x4 brick to give it a little bit more structure and to be able to build up more of the center. There's also a connection up here, which is, both of these are done in bright red. So I understand the red for the interior, I suppose, because they wanted it to look like red leather, as I think. So far, I think the color choices are rather okay. I guess because you can see rather a lot of the different parts of it, so they couldn't really smuggle in too much of different colors. I also forgot to put in two of these connections here, which are just hooking in like that. And also now I'm realizing the gap is probably supposed to be like it is. So it's looking rather okay. Alright, next steps are to put on two of these light bluish gray plates up top of here. And two black 1x1 studs to each of the sides where there's a stud connection left. Alright, so we build a little bit of a tower out of 1x1 studs, 1x1 plates, I suppose. And it's being put up here on the fender. On both sides, so we're just doing the same step for another time. Alright, the other side is connected exactly the same, it's just mirrored. Just to show you where we are right now. This is where it's at. Alright. By the way, thank you so much for tuning in to today's video. I very much appreciate any support that I receive from you guys. I'm always very grateful for it. Also, if you have any critique, please let me know too. I am very keen on improving the quality of my videos and streams. So please never feel like you have to hold back. I can take it. Alright, other than that, we put one of the other printed pieces on right now, which is this little sign up here, which I hope you can see what it says. Let's see. It's like the GR sign that the racing team of Toyota has put on. This, I think, I'm not completely sure, so I don't want to act like I completely know my stuff about the subject. I'm rather supposing it. We are putting on more plates on the top of it to actually align it more properly, give it a little bit more rigidity, and probably here is going to be the beginning of the back window, I guess. Like you can see, we are starting to put down trans clear bricks. right here, and a couple of angled connector pieces on the sides to give it more structure and rigidity. Alright, looking like this at the moment. Alright. So we have put on more of the connection line up here. And it's more plates following, building up a little frame surrounding the middle side that we put down plates for before. Alright, and now a couple of these hooked one by one bricks. These ones up here. 4 of them need to be placed in here. And I'm sure they will be helping to properly display the backside window. Alright. Okay. So we are getting a little bit more build up to this side. Alright, the fenders are getting a little bit more of a build here to the side too. The width getting is getting layered a little bit into the build, which is actually I think quite a good idea. As you can see, there is the upper fender and the lower one, which is the standard part, and together it gets a very nice curvature to it and a 3D effect because it has a little bit of an part sticking out in the front. So I think that's a really cool idea actually. Alright, and there is another trans clear part being put up here. I'm not really sure why they put a trans clear part down there because you can't actually see it, but well. Alright. I think we also put up the headrests here. And now the back window is following. So we had these connections that we put in down here, which I mentioned. And now this side is just being clicked into it. And it's looking like this. Oh, thank you so much for the follow. I very much appreciate that. Welcome. Oh, thank you. That's so nice of you. All right. So the backside window now is getting finished with this little spoiler piece up in the back, which just consists of a G-slope in the middle and two angled side pieces. I think the overall shape is getting quite nice right now. Oh, I'm making the Speed Champions Toyota Supra, the newer version of it. So the like the only version that Lego has ever brought out of a Supra. And I'm at the first step, basically getting done with that. And then there's one more bag that we have to finish with. All right. So, oh sure, it's totally okay to ask. So I'm from Europe, but I'm a little bit of a night owl, so my usual streaming times always consist of rather weird hours in the morning. Usually for me, it's like 6 in the morning right now. And I'm in my 20s. Oh, cool, New York City. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, that's crazy. That's such a time difference. That's super awesome. All right, having to put on our first stickers, which will probably go horribly. Yeah, first one did not go the best way. Could have gone better. Let's see if the second side is getting a little bit better. I appreciate that. I'm always so happy if people can chill out to my streams. Just gonna put on the side slopes up here, and the overall shape is getting quite well. I like how the sloped pieces and the backside transgear piece are quite hitting the same angle. It's looking really cool. Which I personally mind a little bit is the stickers on the side because, well, it's also my fault for not mounting it properly or like placing the sticker properly. But I'm always like a little bit in a struggle with that, so it's not looking as slick as it should be. I think would have been cool if they printed these two like they did with the diffuser piece on the bottom. I think. Oh yeah, Legos are the best. I very much love Lego. I think Lego is such a great way to just relax and let your mind wander off. And also the stuff that you can build is always really awesome, I think. There's so much creativity involved in this. Not so much when following the instructions, but I also love building creations of my own, mostly dioramas and stuff like that. And it's just so fun to just um, get an idea and like build out the idea that you have in your head. I always love that. So we're placing the back heats up here now. Alright, so not only did we put in some slopes to make it a little bit more rounded in the inside area, we are also starting to put on the side pieces here, which will be used for the doors especially. I think it's cool that they use red as the lining color for the inside interior. Also put in some 1x1 baguette bricks for the parting of it. And we are ready at the steering wheel. Getting pretty much finished with the first steps, because most of these are honestly just 1x1 bricks that they give you as an extra if you lose them. Usually with our sets it's always the 1x1 bricks that are extra. Oops. And we have the steering wheel in. I like the fact that they have implemented this red little baguette bricks up here together with the flat flat plates in the background. Gives it all a little bit of a coherent flavor to it, I would say. All right, we're continuing with the backside, where we're putting the logos on. Bear with me on this one because I'm pretty sure I'm not gonna get them on very straight. There's also these sort of logos where it's trans key on both sides and only the middle side has this print on it. So some of the times, if you look at it in a weird light or angle, you sadly can always see these trans clear parts rather well because they are pretty shiny, sadly. All right. So now we have put on the logos. I hope that it's visible. So it's the little Toyota logo up top and then the Supra logo below of that. I think what also really looks cool is how the backlights or the rear lights are looking pretty slick into this sort of build. I also like that a lot about the real version of this car. I think it's actually a rather good looking one. And it was just a bit weird to hear that the engine is a collaboration with BMW, which does not fit the best for a Japanese car, in my opinion. All right. And besides that, let me just check if I did the interior properly. Are we missing anything? I think we should be good. There's one 1x6 plate that I apparently have not placed. We are going to ignore this and we're going to move on. Second step of the build. I also very much appreciate that In this set, they have included a lot of usable colors. At least if you're looking for yellow, it's definitely a well-priced set for parting it out to a certain degree. Just because alone these parts alone go for quite a little bit on Bricklink by now. Also, the transclear windshield, for example, can be sold off quite well. And as mentioned in the beginning, for example, also the little mini figurines always sell for at least €1.50 or so, if you're a little bit patient. Alright, so let's continue on with the build. It starts off in the second step with putting on the rear fenders. I like putting more parts to the rear fenders, so to get it a little bit more shaped off. So this is being put here, and we have this shape here with the little wingtip to give it this sort of angled up design. It is rather cool. I think the back bumper is made with a lot of detail in it. In general, I think the whole car is designed quite well, to be honest. Okay, second side is put up as well. I think I'm just gonna check really quickly if I can implement the other plate that I've left off in the first one. Let's see. Let's just remove some of the decorative pieces, and let's see if we can somehow align this a little bit better. Alright, so we had this little plate left, which kind of annoys me when it's just sitting here. So instead, I'm just gonna see if I can implement it here somehow. I don't know where it would have actually been placed, should have been placed, but honestly, I just don't want to look through the whole instruction manual. So apparently it fits in quite well here. And in a second, I can just show really quickly where I put it. So it had more of a disconnect here. And I just put it in so that we can reach this top side of it. I kind of like the look of it. Let's just see if everything fits together well. And yes, it does. So now the seating area is just a little bit more buffed up, and I think it looks better too. Maybe it actually should have been in there all along. And like I mentioned before, we also did the back side with the angled pieces with the wingtips. Alright, let's continue on with building up the front side. Cool. Whoops, I'm terribly sorry if that was loud. I'm managing to break a little bit more than I managed to build. at the moment. Alright, so we have a little bit of plating up in the front. And up on top, there's just a bunch of structural parts. Alright, to show it a little bit, there is more build up to actually basically lay down the side doors next. And up top there's also a couple of connector pieces that we've added. Next up are the front fenders. With the front fenders attached, that's getting into shape quite a little bit more. This always does a lot. Next up, we're just putting in more of the securing brick in the middle, basically just 2x3s to build upon, and also some side work. Even some slopes to actually have the dashboard being hinted at. It's not really there completely, I guess, but the little angled pieces at least hint at it more than they usually do at some other sets in this realm. Let me just show you what I mean. Especially this side up here, like these angles here, I think give it a little bit too when you look at it, or like when you look into the inside of it. Alright, next up are the side skirts, and we are starting off with the left one of them. They usually always just consist of these plates, which are angled in different ways. There's another 1x6 plate that is being put upon the side row of brick, or like of stud connectors, I suppose. And both sides are getting tiled off with another 1x1 tile, according color. One of them yellow, the other one black. And because it has a little bit of an angle to it, when we mount it on the sides, it gives this cool effect that it has a little bit of a different 3D effect to it, you see? And when I turn it, it has this sort of side raise to it, which gets carried on the bottom. I think that's rather a nice idea. Nice to see that they are implementing newer building technique in these sets too. I think that's one of the elements that make this series very great, in my opinion. It's just the amount of different building techniques being included in basically any of these sets, to be honest. I mean, I have to say some of them are a little bit more um, basic to use a friendly word, but sometimes, especially in the newer models that they brought out, for example, in the Lamborghini Countach or in the Supra too, I think they actually have a lot of cool and interesting techniques implemented. For example, for the view window, or also for the side skirts and stuff like that, with all of this paneling being done. It's just adding a little bit to the overall flair of it, I think. We put on some more plates that I just threw on the table again, which are now being put here to the side. And I think that's always one of the cooler techniques that they have, where we are putting on more side plates with different angles, connecting it here, and you will see there's also another brick being linked into this just to get it more of an exciting shape. So in this case, it's one of those sandwich bricks, the triangular ones, and this plate is just being put up here. And it's a wonderful angle with the fender up top going downwards right into the side skirt. I think this is actually super cool. And not to forget, there's also a bright, no, a yellow side connector here up top. Alright, the mirror is also being put on to this side. And we are left with this design so far. So we have put on some G-slopes up front, the mirror piece to actually give it a little bit more of the fitting look. And up top, in the front, there's just a little bit of build-up that will be used for a different part of the decoration on the outside area. Before continuing on with the front skirt though, apparently we're doing the right side in the same technique as we already have done a couple of minutes ago, but just mirrored to the other side. Let's see if I'm able to find the last piece I'm looking for. Yeah, here it is. So we are basically now just plating it up again. putting on one by one, um, I guess plates, or how is this called? Flat surface plates, I guess. And it's being put onto the other side of this build. Just the same way as we've done on the left side. All right. On the other side, we are also having this decorative sort of 3D angle to create or to implement using mostly slopes with different shapes. So it's a one straight um, sort of slope going frontwards, and then there is an angled one that they are putting next to it to create this sort of layering effect to it. Alright, there's also this little connector piece for the mirror, and then we are just putting it in on this side. And by now it's looking like this here too. And we're just putting in this side piece to complete the look. Alright. Moving on to the front. Front side looks the same on both sides as mentioned. Just need to put on the mirror piece and the slopes. The slopes look rather cool, I think. In general, it gives the whole thing a little bit more completeness to it, I guess. Alright. So then we're just putting on this little mounting bracket up front. And we are actually now starting with the front bumper. We can put away our main build for now. And we just have to put together these parts and the bonnet. Or the hood, I guess. If I do not use British English. I don't even know why it's so used for me to say bonnet to it when I'm mainly actually watching American English content, which makes no sense because there is always hood, I guess. So as you can see, we have connectors on both sides, both here and 8 studs up here. And this is also my main point with the Speed Champion series in terms of building styles. It's just a lot of different angles, all done in a very small form factor, which makes building it just a lot of different experiences. And even though this is not a big model, it gives you so much different building techniques that is more diverse than some of the bigger sets that I usually build. I actually very much appreciate that about it. Alright, we are at this step at the moment. Step 53. As you can see, nearly all sides have some sort of angle or connector to it. Hello again. Great to see you back. So, the front side bumper also is pretty much built a little bit similar to the Corvette race car that I've built yesterday. In the way that it's also this double-sided stud connectors on both the front and the back. And it's always uh, quite interesting to see how elaborate they are sometimes working out the different angles in this. Alright, so we've put on a little bit of layering and two plates on both of these sides. I hope that it's visible. And while I show you that, I'm gonna scroll down a bit. We are putting more plates to the front, and now I think it's the spoiler lip on the front side. Yes, and it's probably the grill piece up here, or it's at least it's supposed to be that probably. Also getting angled off with more cheese slopes in black on yellow side connectors. Oops. Alright, so we have this angle in the front already getting set. And next up, we are putting on more slope pieces to the sides, which have a sticker on them. But I think I'm gonna put the sticker on after I actually put it on the part itself, to at least make sure it has a proper alignment to it. I'm terribly sorry if me hitting the microphone caused a weird sound. Alright. So let's see if I can manage to put on this sticker a little bit better than the last ones. Number 17 and 16. And how is this supposed to look like? It's like here. And this side is up here, I think. Is it? Ah, no. The big side is in the back. It's also one of those transgirl stickers again, which I mentioned a little bit earlier. Um, it can look weird in some of the angles, and it's mounted here, looking a little weird, honestly, because the black line does not really lead into where it's supposed to lead. Would have probably looked nicer with a print instead. But cannot be changed. But I also gotta say, the printed pieces that are included, at least, are some of them. Usually, they do not include any printed pieces in these sort of cheaper sets. But well, they also do not really include them in the more expensive sets, so that's a big negative point, in my opinion, that they should really work on. Alright, just to make sure I'm placing them in the right way. This is how the front bumper is looking at the moment. We are having the three grill pieces in the front, simulated by these black slopes in different angles and building techniques. And then on the side, it's this little curvature with more slope pieces. This is also getting carried on the upper row of it. Alright, so the upper part of the front grille has slopes on as well, leading on to the lower one a little bit nicer. The less light it hits, the better the angle looks, to be honest. Other than that, that's just more slopes. Whoops. But I think the angle this creates actually is pretty cool. So to get the nose up, it's going on from this black grill piece up at another plate height and then slopes into front. And on the side pieces, it's this rounded off shape. Alright, it will also look even a little bit better when instead of this yellow, we are putting on more black plates. Or tiles is what these are called. Yeah, the black tiles, not plates. The plates have stud connectors on them. Yeah, sorry. So, I think this looks actually really good. I love the color difference in these two colors a lot. I think both yellow and black fit together perfectly in this, and the spoiler lip up front looks really cool when you just look at it from the front side. I love that. That's actually pretty cool. And now that we have finished that, it's just these stud connectors up here where we have to slide this in. All right. So the overall shape is getting quite a little bit better now, but we're still missing the hood and the build up in front, which will probably also add to this still. Just to give it more rigidity, there's a light bluish gray plate and a couple of jumper plates being put on top of these connections. These jumper plates are decked by white 2x1 plates and a larger 2x6 plate in black, which gives all of it even more connection space and rigidity. I very much suppose some of these jumper plates are already used for sort of mounting the window piece that we have already set out. And here we are also putting on more of these tiles, the 1x4 yellow tiles now. This is giving a rather cool angle to it, where one is offset just a tiny bit because of this jumper plate, which gives it a little bit of a flowing curve into the front. That's a super cool design feature. I have to say, so far this set had some of the coolest building techniques of these sort of little cars that I've built so far, with the only other one that I would mention as being maybe even a little bit cooler, being the Lamborghini Countach, just because the backside with the two air vents that are both on the left and right side are done with a multitude of different angle connectors and hinges, and that's just something I've not seen in other Lego sets so far. Alright, so we are getting more tiles down with this 2x4 tile in the middle and some 1x1s up front on the fenders. Alright. Up in the front to actually create this sort of flowy downwards form that the newer Supra has carried on from the older versions of the car. Like for example the MK4 Supra, one of my favorite cars in general, is this sloped front part. And I think it's great that Lego has implemented it too, with a multitude of different angles in this. Because of the usage of these jumper plates that I mentioned before, we are able to offset these just as much as is needed for this sort of flowy structure to the side. And also up front there's another 3x2 slope piece that gives it this nose curvature, which I think also adds a lot. Alright, so in the a little bit more finished work that we have now, we are already seeing all of the shapes of the hood going into the front bumper, and then up here the little nose feature going into the air duct up front, which is actually a really cool design feature. Cool. So, and we have a little bit more sloping to do up front before being finished with it. Outwards, but on the fenders, there's the last little bit of angle being created with more slope pieces. Alright. So, as you can see, what is still missing are the tires with the wheels as well as the window or the windshield, I guess, the windscreen. And this is just this sort of standardized, non-printed element that they implement in most of these cars. And it's just be put upon the two jumper plates that we've implemented before. It's rounding off everything quite well, to be honest. And now, the only thing missing are a hell of a lot of stickers, apparently. Let's see if I can actually manage to put these on as I want them to look like, which is rather hard because some of them are supposed to be window pieces, which would have to connect here. Well, not in the best way, to be honest. And here it would also have been really lovely if they would have printed it, because especially with this sort of frame elements for the windows, that's just not easy to place usually. So in this case it's also not the most straight way to place it, but at least, as you can see, I've tried to stick to the back and window a little bit to at least create sort of the effect of it just being larger than just the 4x4 plate that it actually is. But I do not think I succeeded with it. Also, there's some decals missing from the front, and this is probably also the place where it will be the most visible when there is a trans clear sticker, because the light just reflects it a little bit more from the curved pieces. And what I mean, maybe you can see it, I have my camera setting pretty bright, so I'm not exactly sure. No, probably not. There is always a little bit of air that you can always see with this sort of sticker design, which is sort of sad because, well, it ruins the look a little bit. Which also I don't think is necessary is on the sticker sheet, the front logo for the Toyota plate is a 2x4, 2x3 sticker, whereas the actual logo is just this little millimeter of space. So most of it is just a trans clear sticker, which actually looks terrible on the yellow. But for completion purposes, I always still put these sort of bad stickers onto, just for the sake of finishing the model as it is seen in the pictures of the kit. On camera, actually, I'm happy that you cannot see that much of the sticker up here. It looks kind of cool, whereas in reality, sadly, it's also a little bit broken from it being a little bit well thrown around in the package. So sadly, um, it has a little bit of this sort of visible damage to it, but that can never be really negated with this sort of kit. So I think for what we have, we we should just leave it as is. We cannot really change it for a better version of it, sadly. Um, Also, the front lights are being done with 3 different stickers, and it will probably also be a terrible sort of alignment here too, because the stickers are not as wide as the actual parts that they are going upon, which means that the angle that you create always has a little bit of a gap to it from in between. This can be negated with stickers where it's only between 2 parts, but as soon as you have to span over more than 2 parts, there's always a gap that you cannot negate, sadly. I hope it is passable, at least on camera in the right angle. It should be okay. Oh, thank you for the suggestion. Um, so I sadly do not have a Discord yet. I've thought about doing one. Um, I just have to get read into it a little bit, to be honest. All right, the last sticker, and then all that is left are the wheels. All right, I think the right side has turned out a little bit better than the left one, but depending on the angle that you're holding it, it's at least okay, I guess. And as always with these sets, they give you two different um, wheel caps. Let's see which ones could fit better for this style. So we have the one with the which resembles like sort of the OZ sort of wheel caps or wheels, alloy wheels, and we have the 5-star uh, ones that are a little bit more regular. Mm, I think I like the ones with the multitude of smaller rims a little better. All right, so let's just put these on and talk a little bit about the build for finalizing what we have done today. So just to give you one last overview, a little bit closer to it, we had this. We started out with the regular base plate. We had a little bit of a shorter distance between the two wheels today because the front side bumper is just a lot longer than it is with some of the other cars in this lineup. And other than that, I think it's turned out quite well in terms of the slopes on the side. I love how the fenders are held in this sort of 3D effect, which is spanning outwards. I think that's just really cool. Um, I also like the back window because it's sloped off very well. It has a super cool angle to it, and the spoiler goes into it quite well as well. And I also love the front side, with the different angles being created with this little offset being achieved with jumper plates in the middle of it. Um, all right, so to summarize our building experience, I would say it is a rather recommendable set to build at the moment. It's already being reduced quite a lot in some shops, as I have seen. Um, I want to mention I sadly, I only have the European prices up. So it is 20 euros on lego.de or like .com /de. Sadly, the problem with it is that mm, I cannot exactly say how much it costs in dollars, but usually it's the same sort of price range. So I guess it's around $20. Um, I would not pay 20 euros or dollars for it. I would definitely just check sales on websites or toy stores because this is a general release. So I would never suggest paying full retail for general releases, as I have mentioned in the past in some sets. It's just not worth it for just being completely overpriced. Usually, Lego always has it in their own store a little bit earlier than everyone else. So as long as you do not need it right away for any sort of reasoning, which I would not really see, um, it's always very much worth to just wait a little bit, a couple of months. So this dropped down to, if I'm not completely mistaken, I think around 13 or 14 euros, or um, I think in dollars. I will check the price for the next set, but for now I could only guess, so I'm just not gonna do that. I usually say purchasing this sort of sets is only worth it at around an early 75% of it. What is the suggested retail price? Everything above it, you're overpaying a little bit, in my opinion, if it's not just a completely exclusive set. Which sets am I talking about with completely exclusive? For example, the trash compactor from the Star Wars diorama lineup at the moment is completely exclusive to Lego, or also stuff like the Colosseum or the Titanic. Um, I think both these sort of sets, they just do not get released onto the general market. So with these, you have to pay Legos kind of um, weird pricing, or like very extruded pricing to call it that. But with sets like this, the wonderful part is that you do not have to. You can always save a little. Just be patient and not purchase at release date. That's always the best tip for this sort of stuff. And also, some people always think that these that some sets are scarce for some reason, and go on and purchase it on the aftermarket just because it's not available at some part on, for example, lego.com. But to be honest, I would never do that for sets that actually are not yet at the end of their lifetime. Only for if you really want to have a set that has been ruled out of the lineup on lego.com itself and is said to be discontinued for good, then it maybe can make sense to purchase something on the aftermarket. But before then, always just be a little bit patient. One of these instances that I want to mention for that would be, for example, the Home Alone house, which, by the way, is a super cute set that I'm planning to build on stream. I got it a couple of months ago and still have not had the motivation to start it yet, though, because it's quite of a big build. But this is always sold out during winter months at Lego. But that does not mean that you should pay very extruded prices on the aftermarket, ranging for a lot more than they usually do. Like, for example, I think that set was $250, and I've seen it for around $400, and in the winter months, which is just ridiculous. Nobody should pay that, and I also very much hate when you when you extrude people that love the hobby just on the aftermarket because you want to make a quick buck with them. Oh, I actually did not include the figurine in it yet. That's totally true. I'm totally sorry for that. So let's just throw in the rest of the parts too, and let's see how it fits. And now let's just put on the window. Oh, apparently with the hairpiece it does not like it, and let's just remove it. So we actually at least can close the rooftop properly and have it sitting there. All right, other than that, I think the building experience of this set, as I mentioned during the build, was a lot of fun. And to be honest, it is very recommendable. I always recommend these sort of smaller sets a lot more, to be honest, because they are, first of all, giving you a good value for the amount of pieces included in it. For example, in this set, let me just see, there's 300 pieces included for a price of less than 20 euros, which is already Even with the standard pricing, it is quite a good price per piece ratio. And also in this instance, especially, there's not that much, how should I call it, crap colors, basically, where they just want to get rid of some overproduced colors like maybe bright orange or turquoise or stuff like that. That is usually not used in builds that much. Whereas with this little Supra, probably also because it's a rather flat design and a lot of curvature to it. It's a great amount of actual yellow and black pieces, which both can be used in a multitude of ways. Um, I have to say, I I think that even for parting it out, it would be quite worth it, in my opinion. All right. Now he just needs a friend to yeah. I will put it. I will put him to the rest of his friends. I have some in the back, sitting there already. I need to put up a little bit of a display, I guess, for the background of my stream. I've not really gotten to it that much, as you can see by now. It's just, I don't know. It's in the little webcam here, in the background somewhere. Maybe you can see one of it, but I'm not completely showing that. But you're totally right. I should put on a little bit more display in the background too, for future instances of this stream slash videos. Other than that, I think we are pretty much done with today's episode. So at this point, I very much want to thank you so much for watching and contributing in the chat. I very much appreciate that. And it's great to see interaction. It just motivates me so much more to to actually keep streaming and doing this, because it's just, for me, the greatest thing is just always um, having interaction with the chat and with people in general. That's the most fun for me, to be honest. Um, I hoped that it was a rather enjoyable experience, even though it was a little bit of a shorter stream today. And I hope that you tune in the next time, for building another little project of mine. So I am trying to stream every day, or at least 5 times a week. So at the moment, it should be basically every day. I've already um, planned out quite a bunch of little sets that will follow up. And it was so great to have you all in today's video slash stream. Looking forward to the next one. I wish every one of you a good morning, day, or evening, depending of the time that it is at your place right now. And goodbye. See you in the next one.